Ancient philosophers described the many benefits of immersion in nature. More recently, of course, science and healthcare workers have recommended it also as being absolutely therapeutic. But the march of urbanization and the impacts of climate change make it increasingly difficult for everyday people to spend time outdoors. From educational models such as forest schools to an increased focus on parks, green spaces, rewild, and climate action, how can employees, policymakers, designers, city planners, and of course, engaged citizens better promote the healing power of nature? My name is Gonzalo Muñoz, climate champion for COP25. I'm delighted to be moderating the panel called The Beauty of Nature. And here with me, we have the privilege of having Vanessa Keith, principal from Studio Teca Design. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Lina Osman, Regional Head and Sustainable Finance for Untitled Chapter.
Thank you.
Welcome, Lina. Great to have you here. John Pagano, the Group CEO of the Red Sea Development Company.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, John. Oliver Ripley, the CEO of Habitat. Oliver, fantastic to have you here. And finally, but not least, Andrew Solly, the Chief Impact Officer of the great benefit corporation called Planet. So great to have the five of you here today. And as the topic of the day is the priority, I would like each one of you to tell me what is your number one priority and why. So let me start with you, Vanessa.
Okay, my name is Vanessa Keith. I'm an architect and futurist. I guess I'm an eco-futurist. And so my biggest priority, I don't know if this is working.
Should.
Supposed to press next?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm doing, I wrote this book called 2100 A Dystopian Utopia, The City After Climate Change. I am Jamaican, Italian, and Chinese, so I consider myself to be a world citizen. But thinking about Jamaica and thinking about the Caribbean and thinking about hurricanes and thinking about what we can do has become my mission in life. So I wrote this book, and everything has come from there. What we are doing now is we are developing 2100 VR, which is a game, but it's also a metaverse experience. It's something that we intend to connect people who are, like you, concerned about climate, concerned about the future, want to explore new technologies, and also do quests in-game and outside of the game. So we want to change the world with this. So these are just some of the experiences that we're currently developing. So we have sites in Johannesburg, South Africa, Wellington, New Zealand, Moscow, Russia, and New York. And we're looking at the world with 4 degrees of warming and what that could look like. We don't want to go to 4 degrees of warming. The purpose of this is to show that we could be doing all of these things now in our cities. All of these things are things that are technologies, techniques, and methods of building new cities, of greening our cities, of having rewilded cities, forested cities. And I think that that's why I'm here, because I'm really interested in the merging of city and nature. And I think that this is possible. So if you want to experience this, you can come and see me tomorrow. I'm actually at an event called the Marketplace of the Future. It's another future-focused event. And you can put a headset on and see what our vision for New York is like. So thank you very much.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Vanessa. And probably that gave some ideas or inspiration to the rest. Dina, what would be your answer?
Well, I head up sustainable finance for the West, for the bank, which is basically Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and the Americas. And my biggest priority is to help mobilize capital towards financing projects that are going towards climate adaptation, mitigation, but also looking at the S in the ESG and looking at social projects as well.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. John.
Well, I guess what I've heard today from many of the other speakers as well, and what you've just said, Vanessa, is nature's under threat. And there's a lot of talking that has been taking place, which is all very positive. It's bringing the issue to the fore. But in my view, there's not enough action being taken. And what we're doing at the Red Sea is actually trying to lead by example. We're actually changing the paradigm of how do you develop in harmony with nature. And so what we're using is this very unique platform to showcase to the world that we can do things differently and take a proactive step towards not just simply sustaining what's there. Sustainability is great. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. We need to start to undo the damage that we as humans have created over time. And unless we take that step, the future doesn't look so promising. So that's our main message at Red Sea. We're going to change the way we develop real estate, whether it's a city or whether it's a tourism destination, and the technology exists. What's lacking is the will to do it. My biggest concern is the lack of, everybody's waiting for somebody else to do it. If we all take our individual and collective responsibilities and take those bold steps forward, then together we'll solve this climate emergency that we're now facing.
Brilliant, thank you. Oliver, what would be your number one priority and why?
So a little bit similar to what John is doing, but really focusing on building hotels. And I want to change the narrative and the business model in the hospitality industry. A lot of people are talking about this word sustainability. Very few people are doing it. And the business model is broken. So by leading by example, I think the time to act is right now, and it's our responsibility. Because if we're sustaining, we're consuming 5 times the amount of reserves the planet has today. So we have to start regenerating, and we have to start changing the system and the economic system. Because as long as the economic system revolves around profits, that's the wrong motivating factor to be able to build these economies.
Brilliant. Great segue to talk about a benefit corporation. So Andrew, what's your number one priority and why?
Gosh, it's really hard. I think what we need right now, just out of curiosity, how many of you are investors? I'm just curious. Corporate leaders?
Few.
Others? Because that's a big category. There's a, in one way or another, we have this sort of funny time that brings us together, in which the systems that govern our consensual life together have produced enormous prosperity and inequality and all kinds of other things, but a lot of prosperity. Capitalism produced a lot of prosperity for the world, but it's sort of incomplete. And I think we live in this moment where we have to do very deep systems reformation in places that are really unobvious and kind of unsexy. And the process to do that begins with a shift in relationship to the place we live. So I will just share with you, I can do it now or I can do it later, which do you prefer?
If you prefer.
Just some of you may know, but I'm the Chief Impact Officer of an organization called Planet. We are best known for having built and deployed the largest constellation of satellites that look at the Earth. And the way they work is like this. I'm going to use you, Vanessa, as an example. So let's imagine Vanessa's the sun. Here's the Earth. It's spinning around in front of her. This is a group of hundreds of satellites that spin in like a circle, in a chain of pearls around the planet. And as the Earth turns perpendicularly, receiving all the radiant light from Vanessa, each one of these hundreds of satellites takes pictures of the Earth, and every day we image everywhere on Earth. So we take a complete picture of the planet at very high spatial resolution and exquisitely high temporal resolution. That's every building that you build, every ecosystem that you want to restore, every facility that you want to finance, every place that you want to reimagine, we see every day. And we've actually been watching them for the last 2,000 or so days. So we have this incredibly deep series about what's happening on the Earth in very high resolution. And I'll just show you, one thing to say is the Earth is stunningly beautiful. If you get to do what I do for a living and live in a new relationship with the planet every day, being exposed to this, it changes your psychology. It just changes your relationship, and it changes some sense of your sense of connectivity to all of these questions. The Earth is spectacularly beautiful. The Earth is constantly changing. This is the volcanic explosion that happened earlier this year. The Earth is changing in places we don't normally sense, that are outside of, look at this, ridiculous place that we have the best technology in the world, right? Amazing. We need to fill it with things that actually show us what's going on in the rest of the world, the places we can't see when we're living in this consensual reality called New York City, or Neom, or any of the other places. So we see the melting of every glacier every day. We see the health of every forest. And interestingly, I just showed you this. This is raw satellite imagery, unprocessed. But this is a picture of a few weeks of deforestation deep in the Amazon. So we lose about 40 football pitches a minute of this kind of forest on the Earth. And it's not just important for climate. It's important for life. It's important for the shared web of life. It's important for all these things. It's habitats for people. It's habitats for everybody. And I think if you watch this video for 2 seconds, you probably see all the deforestation that's happening on the right-hand side of the screen. What you might not notice on the left side is right after that deforestation occurs, there's little spider webs that just appear. Those are the illegal roads that go in before the next round of deforestation occurs. And because we can train artificial intelligence algorithms on finding those roads, we're able to interdict deforestation and see it and characterize it as never before. This happens to be an event I think everyone here has heard of. This is how a world transforms us. A world we have transforms us. This is in Pakistan. This is 2 days in Pakistan, back to back. Oh, sorry, I can't go backwards, so I don't know how to tell you.
So Andrew, my number one priority is for this panel to go...
To talk.
Yeah, and to talk, and for everyone, so I think it's
stop.
great, yes. And we have only 8 minutes left, so sorry to interrupt you, but I would like to give also...
I was done. I just wanted to show
okay,
you
great, fantastic, and of course, brilliant, and we highly admire the work that you do. And I will start with you, then Oliver. What global trends are related to the protection of natural environments, and why is the preservation of nature important to the future and the organization you lead?
I think nature is how we live, how we eat, how we sleep, how we breathe, how we reproduce. So we're not just creating environments for ourselves, we're creating environments for our children and for generations to come. So as we see huge human migration happening right now, deforestation, disruption of the atmosphere, these are all decisions and actions we have to take today, and we have to stop speaking about it, we have to start doing it.
Brilliant. John, in your case, what are those global trends, and what are some of the challenges that you're confronting in this aspect?
Well, I think consumers, especially the younger generations, are now become much more aware of our environment, our climate, and all of the things that we as more older generations have imposed on it. So I think there's a much greater awareness, and what I'm hoping for, and I think it's happening, is that translates into demand. They're no longer happy for us to continue to talk about it. They want us to start to act, and they want us to act now. And I think that the power of the consumer is going to help transform the world, because so far everybody's focusing top down. It's governments and policymakers, and it's important, clearly. But if there's a groundswell, which I'm seeing today, then it'll force us as an industry, as developers and so on, to make those positive changes. So I see that as the main trend. The challenges I think I alluded to in my earlier comment is that there's a lot of complacency. A lot of people are just sitting on the sidelines waiting for somebody else to do it. I'll just carry on doing what I've been doing because Oliver's going to take care of it. And I think, as I said before, we have to start taking our own responsibility and showing that you can do things differently. I think so there are challenges, but I think there's also opportunities for us to take this forward and start to see real positive change.
Brilliant, thank you. So Lina, in your case, what are those trends, challenges, and focus that you're mobilizing through Untitled Chapter?
So there are quite a lot of things that are evolving in our space within financing and investing a lot of these projects, for example. But the main thing is that we have been focused for a very long time on mitigation, and now is also the time for us to focus a lot more on adaptation as well. The recent examples of floods in Pakistan and some of the droughts and floods happening in other parts of the world, wildfires. It's really important for us to kind of figure out ways that that provide investors and lenders, that provide the capital to ensure that these projects continue to be sustained, continue to be available, cash flow producing. We have to find ways for us to ensure that adaptation projects are also being prioritized as well, equally with mitigation projects. The main thing that I see as well as a trend is the evolution of a lot of the new markets and the new ideas in terms of structures that you can put in place for financing these projects, and essentially mobilizing capital towards the markets that need it most and that are the most affected by climate change. One of the things that is just quite exciting in our world at the moment is the carbon markets and how that's evolving, and how we can help clients monetize that in order to have a new source of income, for example, but also to create this virtuous cycle where you're using that income to invest in climate adaptation and mitigation projects and social projects, of course, as well. There are a lot of other trends, but I'm conscious of time, so I'll stop there.
Thank you, Lily. Andrew, what do you think are those key areas of nature that companies and policymakers should focus on the fight against climate change?
Well, I think we're living through this amazing moment when climatologically and ecologically material information about the Earth, about the places on the Earth, about assets on the Earth, is suddenly slowly being ingested by the global financial system. So today we have carbon markets. Tomorrow we will have nature markets. We'll have carbon credits and nature credits, and then we'll have blended credits that combine social, ecological, and climatological benefits, and lots of structures like that. And I'm not sure that credits is the ultimate endpoint for that, but I think what we're in is this moment when the systems are taking things that historically have been externalities and therefore gone unmeasured and therefore gone unvalued, and has started to become measured and therefore valued. It's a slow and messy process right now. But it's a kind of fun, I guess, this sort of funny moment, because we're living at the same time, we're living sort of through the sixth extinction, in which nature is in radical crisis, and the second renaissance, in which we've never had more powerful tools. And that's a strange and kind of conflicted space.
Well, thank you. Vanessa, how do you envision our natural environment in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I have a lot of optimism, which, I think that if you look at, Twitter and climate Twitter and people talking about this now, there isn't a lot of optimism, which to me, as somebody who comes from a very climate impacted place, being able to do the research, which we did to do the book, everything that we are showing in the book is based on real technology that's currently in development. So there's actually a lot that we can do. We have the tools, we have the techniques, we have the technology, we have all of that. We just need to do it. We need to act. So I think the pandemic, interestingly enough, taught us that we can change really fast, actually overnight. The way that we worked, initially I thought, how am I going to run my office remotely? How is this even possible? Suddenly the tools appeared and we were able to do it. We have about 8 years to fix this. Every single person alive now on the planet is special. Whether or not you think that you can do anything, we, all of us, are the last people that can do anything about this crisis for all of the future generations to come. And that's a tremendous role. So even if you don't think, you don't know what you can do and you don't think you can do a lot, you're special just by virtue of being here. So in terms of what cities are going to look like, I think that we found, we really need a lot more green stuff to absorb carbon. I look at buildings because I'm a licensed architect, but we have so much surface area that we're not using that could be bird habitats. Why should you pay somebody to come kill the birds that are nesting in your roof? Why can't the building be organized to support that? Why can't we have energy generation in place on the facade and on the roof? Why are our streets not white? We've known these things for a very long time, that they are strategies that we can use, and we just need to implement them. And the thing is, they are starting to be implemented. Yeah. The crisis, the speed of the crisis certainly is faster and more accelerated than we thought it would be. Some of the things that I wrote about in my book, and you can also see more about my ideas on Netflix, The Future Of, but Some of these things I thought I would be still alive, very old, when these things would happen, and they happened recently. At the same time, the pace of technology and interest and will to do this has also picked up. So I actually have a lot of hope, and I invite anyone to join me in this mission. Certainly other people who are from climate-impacted areas, let's do this. We have everything we need, we just need to act.
Thank you. Oliver, you spoke the less, and we are running out of time. Just a final message before we close.
I think nature always wins, and we have to figure out ways that we can work with her and not against her. So,
brilliant.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much to the five of you. Please, everyone, join me on a round of applause to this fantastic panelists. And we'll leave the stage for the next panel. Thank you.
Thank you.